Welcome back to my Amped 2 Own the Mountain guide. In this video, we'll be going to Breckenridge. And actually, I've been to Breckenridge, though during the summer, not the winter, so I saw the mountain biking and walking paths version and not the skiing snowboarding version. But obviously, this level is far more over the top than what you would see on the trails, which leads me to think, has anyone been to some of the other mountains that have levels based on them in this game? Millicent, Mount Hood, Bear Mountain, Locks, New Zealand Mount Buller. And if so, do you see any direct similarities between the actual location and the level, or are all of them just inspiration to build these levels around? I wonder, so if any of you have done that, leave a comment, let me know what those are like. So, for snowmen, we started at 4 o'clock, and we saw that the first snowman, you ride a ways down, and it's below a sign on kind of the right side of the level. And then you ride a little further, go over a giant jump, and the snowman is on the backside. Then we can cut over quickly to the left for the third snowman, which is actually behind one of those banners. And you know what, while we're here, let's just keep riding down. There's a fourth snowman on the left side of the long green half pipe near the end of the level. And so those are the 4 snowmen we're going to collect from 4 o'clock. I'm listening to the emo playlist in this game, and just like the emo playlist in Amped 1 was, this is definitely my favorite playlist here. The game just did such a great job pulling so many tracks and introducing me, or anyone who played this as a kid or now, to so many great bands. You know, this game didn't try and get a big Godsmack song as their theme song. Instead, they pulled literally over 300 songs across the genres: electronic, emo, rock, surf rock, rap, etc. And hardcore. I mean, that's the one that I left out. But yeah, the emo playlist has definitely introduced me to some great bands like the one you hear, Sunday's Best, as well as Time Spent Driving. There's some early Yellowcard and Taking Back Sunday in here. There's definitely some bands that are so unknown now that you can't find them on Bandcamp or even find them on YouTube. After some digging, maybe you can find them on Discogs only and hope that someone could sell you their CD. So I didn't really do a play-by-play of the snowmen you could get from Duke's, but the first one is close to the start on the right side of the path in front of you, and the second is further down on the left side of that path, on the left side of a thicker green rail, I guess, that you could grind up and over on. That got us to 6 snowmen, and then we went to Vista House for the other 2. The first one from that drop point is up on the house in front of you, kind of on the backside, so you may want to take that with some finesse. And then you'll ride down the middle path, and it'll be on the left side of a long green half pipe that's kind of middle of the way down the entire Breckenridge run. So now we're on to gaps, so we're going back to 4 o'clock for a gap that's pretty close to the start of that, and you can immediately see that this gap requires a lot more stats than you may have when you first get to Breckenridge. It's a big jump from a ramp up to a tree to grind that you will need a lot of Big Air and Ollie for. You can see in my kind of, again, near end game character that I struggled a few times to get the air to get all the way over there. I don't think you can get over there with just 3 or 6 points in Big Air and Ollie. And it's kind of funny, coming back to Amped 2 after playing years ago, suddenly a lot of the challenges I struggled on in my initial Let's Play, I was getting much more easily, and now all of that has been replaced by these gaps that I'm really going for the first time now, and those are giving me a lot of difficulty. So I wonder if I come back in 4 years, which, 2023 would be the 20th anniversary of this game, that suddenly all these gaps would be a cakewalk. But I don't know, we'll have to see. But I'm definitely struggling on them on Breckenridge because they're kind of odd. As KTWO again pointed out in his series, especially in this level, there seems to be a good disparity between the gaps that you're intended to get when you first get here, and you may fly past with better stats, or gaps that you will need lots of stats to get, and also gaps that just have a weird run-up. Like, for example, this one up here at Vista House, where you need to jump on the house, but the ramp up there is kind of not really conducive, and what I discovered is you kind of need to use the very left side of the ramp to get up to the house without losing a lot of speed. But on these, in a really tough one, I may include a bonus clip showing something I discovered a bit later. As you see, here's another playthrough that I loaded up. And so you saw that, yeah, kind of sticking to the left side of the ramp that kicks you up, and also the left side of the ramp you're supposed to jump off, can help you in keeping the speed and getting the right speed to make the gap. But here's where we kind of lose our little setup that I started in Millicent 1, where now I basically am going to take each gap separately just because they can be so hard and finicky that I didn't want to have to try and do multiple in one run. You know, if I just finally got a gap after sometimes 5 to 10 minutes of trying it, I was happy enough. So back to Vista House now, and you can see another gap off to the left. You're supposed to jump up the kicker and grind that rail, or at least again do a failed stall off it, basically interact with it. But with higher Big Air and Ollie, you will especially see that you just coast up over the rail. It's like a very specific amount of speed you would need then to actually hit the rail, but I saw that you can kind of come up short a bit and get it. Sometimes, of course. So the next gap, you would ride past the one you just did, but then go down the path kind of on the right, you know, not go all the way over to the left of the level, and you can see where that gap was, and you can also see that I coasted way over the landing spot with my endgame Big Air and Ollie stats. But I'll continue on because the final gap will be straight in front of you in this case, and that one is sort of just an odd location to location jump. Kind of an interesting gap, if you will. Doesn't really seem to have the same amount of wow factor as the others might. But as you see, the gap that you go back for, you can also kind of come up short and get a bit. So here's another bonus clip, and this other character has, you know, endgame higher Ollie and Big Air stats as well, and so I'm kind of showing off that if you come at it straight and you kind of really slow down, and you kind of just think about when to start holding jump and when to build up some speed, you can, you know, sort of figure out, finesse the air you need. So yeah, that's a lot of finesse that the Breckenridge gaps may need. This is definitely a level where you should try some of the gaps when you're first here, and then you should continue to come back and try some of the gaps as you get a few more points in, because if you come back at the end, some of them will be pretty tough. But that's it for Breckenridge, so next time we're going to Bear Mountain 1. Obviously the event levels don't have Own the Mountain components to them, so they're not included in this series. So yeah, next time we're going to Bear Mountain 1. Thank you for watching.